Wow. Well, ladies and gentlemen, our next presenter is the son of a plumber, and he fought for the common man. But whenever he was around the Four Horsemen, all he did was fight. WWE Hall of Famer, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes.
He's just a common man, working hard with his hands. He's just a common man, working hard for a man. Hey, he's a
John Lennon brought the Beatles over as a faction. There were four of them. They laid down the foundation for the music that we hear today. Then in the movie industry, the Rat Pack with Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin. They flew around in limousines and jets and lived in Vegas. And through the years, our industry has seen different groups blaze up in a flame of glory and soon flicker out. Until the Four Horsemen rode that lightning bolt into this business called professional wrestling. I got a little out of hand there with that, didn't I? A little bit. Got to back down here. They needed a leader. Needed a champion. There were, I love first time things, man, things that you don't know it's gonna happen. So first time that one man has been inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame 2 times. We have cried with him, we have hugged him, we have retired with him, we have walked with him, we have watched him be ridiculed throughout the world, but we have lived with the fact that no one in this business can get down inside what we call that squared circle like the H-boy Ric Flair. Iconic to say the least. But what Ric Flair really is a national treasure. And he will be inducted tonight as this cornerstone and leader of the Four Horsemen. You went to J.J. Dillon, manager deluxe. He put the blueprint out, you know what I mean? He got all the flights ready. He got all the reservations ready in Vegas and got the limos lined up. They flew around, you know, in this era of, I'm gonna get a contract. What's the first thing I'm gonna get on it? I'm gonna get me a bus. I'm gonna ask this company to get me a bus. You can drive my butt around on the big old bus. They not only had one plane, they had 2 planes. They were picked up in limousines. They housed themselves in places like Las Vegas and Chicago and Rush Street. And J.J. Dillon was the man behind all that. He structured that. Behind the scenes, in the ring, the only time I ever seen him really cry like a baby is with Hank and the animal run him into the War Games cage and broke his shoulder. And he cried like a baby, screamed like a panther in the middle of the night. He was their leader. And then they needed a Brad Pitt kind of look-alike. They say, we need somebody really handsome that ain't tied to anybody. The very best natural athlete I have ever seen walk in this business was Barry Windham. And when you hear the rumbles of, well, I should have done this, or why is he here, or why is he in this, it's simply because of that reason. He was a horseman, he is a horseman, and he is truly a gift to our industry. We can't forget that. How many more do I have? Okay. Tully Blanchard. Tully was I think the word is technician. In the ring, he had so much power. They would tie me to the wrecking ball and pound on my noggin each and every night. Tully Blanchard made no mistake about it when he believed he was the best. Really did, and probably is. Kept them together, the glue right there. That was Tully Blanchard going into this Hall of Fame. And now then, the unsung hero of this bunch, the heartbeat of the Horsemen is Tully Arn Anderson. "14 times I walked in the War Games with him, and 45 minutes later, he was still there. When they needed something dirty done, he would get it done. When they needed to go an hour in a match, he would get it done. When they needed somebody to go out and get beat up, he would get it done. If they needed somebody to protect them, he would get it done. In the ring, out of the ring, and now giving back to this group of young men and women sitting out here like nobody can. You got to open your ears, kids, and listen to the history you are seeing on this stage tonight. I watched him get out of the car the other day at WWE Raw, and he was twitching with himself. And I'm saying, man, this dress code thing really got him down. And I was saying, who would think of something like that? A man like this, this dress code, got to have the dress code. You know where Arn Anderson's dress code is? His dress code is right here. It's in the respect he has for this industry. It's in the respect he has for each and every one of you guys. It's in the respect that he has for this thing we call pro wrestling. And all Arn Anderson is a pro wrestler. That's all he's gonna be, that's all he wants to be, and that's all five of these gentlemen are. But tonight they are something different. They are something special. It's a great honor to present to you, to this 2012 class of the WWE Hall of Fame, the Four Horsemen.
Thank you. There was a day about 25 years ago when 4 exceptional athletes held all of the major championships. These guys, they carried the gold, had all the bragging rights, and somebody said that they should all go out for a TV interview together, and I went out with them because I was with Tully at the time. I really believe that the sun and all the planets and their moons and all the stars were in perfect alignment that day because something truly magical happened. And the 4 horsemen were born. None of us had any idea that it would become as big as it became or that it would last as long as it did. And we have these fans largely to thank for that. And I have to give a nod to the American Dream because he was the catalyst for our opposition across the ring virtually every night. And he forced us to be the absolute best we could be every single night. So I fast forward a quarter century to tonight, and here we stand reunited to accept the highest possible honor that we could receive, and that's induction into the WWE Hall of Fame. And I am so proud to wear this ring, so grateful that I had a chance to run with these guys from day one and to call them my friends. And I really am deeply humbled by this honor. And tonight is really special for me because my 3 daughters, please stand up, Pam and Missy and Nicole are here along with my son Jeffrey to share in this incredible evening. I thank you, I thank everyone, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. I love you. Nate, come on up here, tell them what's causing all this.
Oh, I want to. Don't worry about that. You know, I get emotional at this damn thing, so I got to tell a funny story. Since I saw you all in 08, I'm remarried. Shocker, right? Okay. So, but I never got to tell anybody why I'm getting remarried. So I was working for the company doing PR, and they sent me to Raw one night. We were in Indianapolis, and I was with John Cena, who I love to death, and he knows that. And Mike Adamley, a former employee. Forget about Mike. Forget about Mike. It don't matter. It was about me and Cena. So the only woman that ever talked me into going to the hotel and calling her when I got back to the hotel was Tiffany. And I said, Jesus. So John, even Cena looked at me and said, you got to call your wife? I said, I know this don't work. So I went upstairs and called her from the Hyatt in Indianapolis. And I said, I'm going to have a couple drinks with Cena. And she said, you ever going to grow up? I said, what? I said, what'd you say to me? She said, are you ever going to grow up? I said, I don't know. I'm not thinking about it anytime soon. Why? And then she tried to put the ace on me. She said, what do you have in common with someone 30 years younger than you? Wow. I said, I don't know, but I'll tell you this. You won't find out tonight. Bonk. And the cell phone was powered down. And I left the bar at 3 o'clock with John Cena. And that's because I'm a horseman. Woo! Woo! Hell yeah! So, one time Bruiser Brody tried to tell me that football players are wilder than wrestlers. I said, Brody, you're out of your mind. You know, you couldn't talk to Frank. He thought he knew everything. So he said, I said, brother, you ain't been hanging around with me and my buddies. Because these guys weren't coming to St. Louis that much then on. And I was the world heavyweight champion. That's before we really got to going, but we were all hung out together. I said, football players are wilder than the Four Horsemen. You don't know where you on, brother. And whatever you're on tonight, it ain't working for you. Come on and roll with us for a week. But I want to say this. No, please. I have had, and this is really hard to say, I have had the most wonderful career that any athlete of any sport could possibly have. God, I've been doing this 40 years, guys. But the 8 years or 9 years that this group ran together, good Lord, it was the best time of my life. And I can tell you this, the thing that made these guys special, and I'm putting myself in the same group, we could not wait to get to that arena. We wanted to show everybody we were the best in the business every night. Just what it was. We loved performing. We loved seeing the fans happy. We loved seeing them mad. We just loved being the best at what we were doing. And I really feel like we were. Arn is the brother I never had. Tully, like Dusty said, a very close friend and a great guy and a fabulous technician, and worked his ass off every night of the week. And Barry Windham, just like Dusty said, one of the most incredible athletes that I've ever tagged with or worked against, ever. And I said it in 08, I'll say it now. He's the only man I've ever lived my life vicariously through. Hell, we'd get on a jet and Barry'd say to me, I'm driving to Louisville so I can pick up some chick in Atlanta. I said, you're driving to Louisville, you got a Porsche to go about 180 miles an hour back then. And I'll be damned, he wasn't at the building before us with the chick from Atlanta. Hell, that's Barry Windham. Who'd drive 500 miles, you could fly in a Learjet? Barry. Jesus. JJ, I'm gonna tell you another funny story, guys, because I gotta get some humor before I start crying again. JJ Dillon, in real life, he watched over us. We were his kids. We were his kids. I mean, JJ had fun, but he watched over us. So I'm going to tell you another funny story about my second wife. So the Horsemen came off the road one night, got off that jet, man, and there was a club called Bennigan's. And me and JJ and his wife and my wife Beth, Ashley, my daughter here, please stand up, Ashley, and read. You'll love this story, Ashley. These are my kids right here. God, I'm proud of you. Aren't they something? So anyway, I was drinking like hell, and Beth said, we got to go home. I said, I'm not going home. She said, we're going home. And I said, if you ask me to go home again, I'm going to kick your purse across the bar. I'm going to punt it. And she said to me, you're going to go home because I'm telling you, you've been gone for 5 weeks and I want you to go home. And I said, I'm not going home. I don't like going home. Hell, when the place closes, I'll go. That was my whole life. You know that. Pat knows it. So sure enough, woo. She said, I'm going to go home and get Ashley. Ashley was just maybe a year old. And I'm taking her, and you are the worst person of all time. I said, you ain't taking her anywhere. So I said, JJ, get in your car, brother. Drive me across town. Get to my house. Got to get there before the girls get there. So JJ pulls up in the driveway. I said, guard this place, man. I'm going to go in and get Ashley. I got there, right? What am I thinking? She's just big, right? So I said, I'll just lay underneath the crib. Now, I forgot about JJ. So I got underneath the crib, right? I woke up in the morning. Ashley's gone. I said, what the hell happened? And I walked out the driveway. JJ was sleeping in his car like this. 8 hours later, that's JJ Dillon, taking care of the kid. I love you guys. God bless you. I love you all. I'm so proud of you. The show is great. I'm watching all the time. I love all of you. I respect you all. This is everything in the world. And I'm so thankful to all of you for letting me enjoy this weekend with you. Thank you so much. Ashley, one more time, baby. Come on, stand up. Come on, Reed, man. One more time. Stand up, Reed. Come on, buddy. Thank you for allowing me to be a horseman, kids.
This is where it all started for me, right here in Miami. 28 years ago. I look out here in the crowd, I see a lot of friends, a lot of smiling faces. But I tell you, this honor means a lot to me. And to be inducted with this group of guys just is something that I would never have imagined ever before in my life. Thank you. I met Rick when I was 14 years old. And before I knew it, he had me dressed up in a tuxedo and a chauffeur's cap driving his limo around, and him around town. Make a long story short, I burnt the car up at a Taco Bell drive-in. Wasn't at my senior prom either. Tully I met about the same time. JJ, when I was going to West Texas State, JJ was out in Texas, and I began refereeing out there and was traveling with JJ. We wrestled in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and we had to go to El Paso one night. And JJ's car broke down on the side of the highway in the desert. I was carrying the ring, and I passed him on the highway going about 110. And I remembered seeing what I thought was a ghost on the side of the road. Little did I know it was JJ. I got to El Paso, and he let me know that it was him on the side of the road that I'd passed. Arn, I've got great memories of Arn in the ring. I had some of my best matches ever with Arn and against Arn. We were the utility crew for Crockett Promotions. Whenever we had a show, Arn and I were sent out last, and we had to go 45 minutes to an hour so everybody else could get dressed and showered and leave the building. So you guys that are on last knows what that means. I'm so set back at this honor. I'll tell you, there is something that comes to mind. My father is a Hall of Famer, and I believe I'm the first son of a Hall of Famer to become a Hall of Famer. Blackjack's at home, he's doing fine. Thank you.
I have stood behind this group of guys every Saturday morning for 3 or 4 years. And I've listened and I've watched blood vessels pop. I've watched passion come out. I've watched spit, as we talked about, the symbol of excellence. As we talked about being the best that there was. And then yesterday, as Arn and I were doing some media things, talking about how we had an internal competition going on and see who could outdo the other ones. Because most of the time we weren't in 8-man tag team matches. Most of the time it was a couple of singles and a tag, and you tried to steal the show. As Jerry the King Lawler mentioned earlier, who can follow that? Well, I'll tell you this. There's not anybody on the planet that the Horsemen cannot follow. I passed Jim Ross in the lobby yesterday, and he said, "You're down to quarterback weight again." At 58, I don't need to be. 34-inch waist, I'm okay, but I can't grow any hair. I stole your line. You know, we can sit up here and talk about all the things and how the four of us interact, but my dad told me something when I was a very young man. He said, "The wrestling business is the entertainment business. You're in the job of making people scream." And I took that to heart. My dad was the only tough guy in the family, the Big 8 champion in 1950. He defeated Ted DiBiase's dad for the championship. I had to throw that in, Teddy. I was in show business. And to be able to get on jet airplanes and limousines with these guys every night and twice on Sundays, and to walk into arenas to entertain you, that's what it was about. And ladies and gentlemen, I'll tell you this, it was so you could get, back in those days, $10 worth of entertainment. Because I've been out of the business for quite a while. I've been walking a different path. When you guys started chanting Dusty, I leaned over and told Arn I walked into a prison up by Ocala in 1996, and the inmates started chanting Dusty, 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 and they wouldn't let me speak. I'd been out of wrestling for almost 7 years at that time. I was on a different path. My 4 children are here with me tonight, and they did not know this part of my life. Taylor, Tanner, Tessa, and Tally, would you stand up for the audience? The 4 people that I love the most in the world, right there. I watched all 4 of them be born, and I didn't know what love was until that happened to me in 1991. Thank you for being here. I want to thank this man on the front row, Pat Patterson. And boy, you can see the wheels turning now, baby. We were in Milwaukee one night, and I was sneaking out of the dressing room area, and all of a sudden I see this guy, and he says, "Why don't you give me a call?" and hands me a card. You remember that, Pat? You don't remember? Oh. That's what opened the door for Arn and I to perform for the WWE and set up our first meeting with Vince McMahon. Which then opened the door for Arn and I to be World Tag Team Champions. And I can tell you, it was a great thrill on Saturday night's main event back in those days when the referee actually went 1, 2, 3. Bobby the Brain Heenan, Arn, and myself held up those championship belts. To be able to wear this ring, I was told a few months ago about the honor. My children found out on television back in January, and my son wasn't overly impressed until he found out I got a ring. So it's a deal when you get a ring. This week is a special week for me. Many of you wrestling fans and many of the men that are in this profession know that on Monday, we had a memorial service for my father. I was a very fortunate man because I was best friends with my dad. A week ago Thursday at 7:23 in the morning, he took his last breath on this earth, and he stepped into eternity. He'd been suffering a long time, and it was good for him to go. But how you can have the deepest low on Monday and the highest high and an honor like this in the same 6 days will take me weeks to process. Ladies and gentlemen, I wake up every day with a little twinge in my back, a little twinge in my neck, because of the bumps, the clotheslines, the over-the-top ropes onto the floor. And I'm not wanting anything in return for it. That's how much I thought of you guys. Each one of these gentlemen does the same thing because you, the WWE wrestling fans worldwide, deserve every ounce of our energy, every ounce of our effort, every time we went to the ring. Thank you, and God bless you.
Are you kidding me? That's for you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Please. I didn't make any notes or anything to
organize myself tonight, and a couple of times during the week, my wife asked me, she said, aren't you working on your speech and going to prepare something? I mean, what are you doing? I said, no, I'm just going to do what I've done for 30 years. I'm going to come out here and not talk at anybody. I'm just going to talk to all of you, if that's okay. You're going to hear a few things that are going to be repeated, but it's the passion that these gentlemen, Ron Simmons, everyone that you've seen before and will see after me, have for this industry. To give you some perspective on how I feel, and I've always felt, I guess I should probably tell you how it all started. I was, probably 7, 8 years old, watched my first wrestling from, I think it was Nick Goulas, Channel 3 out of Chattanooga. Yes, it was probably in black and white, big show. And I was hooked. It was unbelievable. I got on the phone, I called my best friend Bob Moss, and I said, Bob, you gotta get out of here, you gotta get out of here. Come on, hurry. So I'll be right there. I think he thought the house was on fire, something was going on. I went in, found my tightest underwear, got my face mask toboggan out, took a shoestring out of my tennis shoe, down in the tights, perched myself up on the couch, put on the mask, and when he came in the door, I attacked him. Hooked. I was hooked. And my passion and my desire to be in this industry took off about that point. Dick Slater, Bob Orton Jr. were the two that were my idols. There was just something about those guys as I got a little older that just, I want to do what they do. Now, my granny and grandfather are two of the best people that I've ever known. They raised me. My grandfather worked 12 hours a day cutting hair, and if I remember correctly, he was charging $2.75 a haircut, and he would then come home and he would work his garden for a couple hours in the evening, and I think that's probably where I got my work ethic, and that's something I am proud of, work ethic. And I will remember my grandmother, and if there is a heaven, and God, I hope there is, she's there for sure. She said two profound things to me. She said, son, do you wrestle with your glasses on? Come to think about it, I probably should have. I might have done a little better. And number two was, just out of nowhere, she said, you know what, that Michael Hayes is the sexiest thing I have ever seen. Where are you, Michael? There you have it. I didn't show you she wasn't nuts. But a gentleman named Tad Allen broke me in and got my first match on television in Atlanta, Georgia on TV, getting my brains thumped out by the Armstrongs, Bob and Brad. Yep, Road Dogg's part of that family, Scott's part of that family, fine people. And that name Armstrong will come into play a little bit more prominently as my career went on, but Bob said, hey, you know what, I got a job for you for about 2 weeks. Quit my job, went to Pensacola, worked for Bob. He said, well, you did well, I'm gonna send you out to Bill Watts. Okay? Went out and did TV for Bill Watts. He said, go home, pack your stuff, come back, you got something. So after driving myself to death, but learning the industry from the ground up, I got my first break. Junkyard Dog looked at Bill Watts and he said, would you send that kid right there with Matt Bourne to Atlanta? Paul Ellering's going to be their manager. Give him a break. Give him a try. Now, how many people can say they've been managed by Paul Ellering, Bobby Heenan, and James J. Dillon? What an honor. That didn't work out so well. Bob Armstrong said, come home, come to Pensacola. And that's when my life changed. You're going to hear all night long us recognizing our families. But the fact is, they, our families, are part of your families. I don't know if you know that or not. We are all, every one of us, all the way up to the top, intertwined. Every one of us. More than you will ever know. If you only knew the power that you possess. We live our lives every day, not for the money, the notoriety, the glory, getting a good seat at a hotel or a restaurant or whatever it may be. We live our lives to come through that curtain and entertain you. And there's no feeling better than coming back through that curtain. You don't have to ask anybody how it was. You know. You know exactly. Good or bad, you guys let us know, and I applaud you for that. Sitting in front of me are the things I'm most proud of in this entire world. First time I saw my wife, Erin, I looked at her and I said, honey, you're the prettiest thing I've ever seen. I still mean that today. My two boys, Brock and Barrett, you're the thing I'm the most proud of. Being your father is my single most accomplishment that will ever happen in the history of my life. Thank you for patching me up. Thanks for sending me out to these people. Thanks for allowing me to spend your birthdays and my birthday with them, possibly on their birthdays. That's how close we all are. It ended for me very suddenly. Working for WCW, and when a doctor looks at you and says, oh, by the way, you broke your neck 3 times. If you don't stop right now, you're either going to be sitting for the rest of your life, or you're going to lose that left hand. Being left-handed, things got pretty serious. So I made the right decision, I guess. Had the surgery, and that finished it. Which put me on another career path. The one I'm on now, the one I share with some best people on earth. Dean Malenko. Ricky Steamboat. Fit Finley. Bill DeMont, Jamie Noble. They're called producers. Our job solely is to take some of these guys and scattered around this arena, some of these young guys, do everything in our power to make them better so that they can entertain you. Now I look at this front row, and I look at CM Punk. What a leader. 3 years ago, do you ever think CM Punk / team leader would be in the same sentence? I didn't. Very proud of who you've evolved into. Very proud. I look at the Big Show. Probably one of the most talented athletes in this company. You don't get to see some of what he can do because I won't let him. Sorry, Show, no drop kicks off the top out to the floor. We need you too bad. There is only one Rey Mysterio. Only one. Make no mistake. Randy Orton. I idolized your dad, Randy, and now I idolize you. You're just that good. There is no limit to how good that man can be. Now, when you take the names like Undertaker and Kane, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Edge, guys like that, and you put them out there and you just look at them, they take your breath because they are the golden circle of this industry. They certainly are. And when they're gone, see them every minute of every chance you can. There will never be another group like that, ever. Trust me. And there's one more guy that I've gotten a little bit fond of, and most people don't know that I'm very close to. And I get the whole let's go Cena, Cena sucks. Trust me, I've seen the whole evolution of it. It's working, John. You got him again. God, that would almost be like a... Fact is, that man right there is the best human being I know. I've seen him sit with sick children for hours. All of our sick children, they all belong to us. He makes their lives better, if only for a short time. He's never said no, not once. I've seen him take these young guys aside and spend hours trying to help them, put them on the bus with him and travel, try to teach them. That's what passing the knowledge is all about to the next generation. We are the caretakers of this industry right now, those of us in this room. If we don't take care of it and nurture it and pass it on, what are all of your children going to come to see? I don't want that to happen. I don't think any of you do either. So I will just close by saying I love all these people, and I've probably left some names out. I'm very sorry about that. There's another leader, Chris Jericho. Yeah, I'll go along with that. Bet your butt. Sure will. I'd like to thank John Laurinaitis. I'd like to thank Mark Carano. Mark threatened me. What am I going to do? And I would like to end with just this simple thought. People ask me all the time, how would you like to be remembered, and what would you like to be put on your epitaph? And I've thought about it quite a bit, and really just pretty simple. It'd be a nice thing to think, as much as I've chosen this wonderful industry and this wonderful path to spend my entire adult life with all of you, it would be nice to know that this business chose me as well. Thank you, and good night.